discussion that we were just having prior was, I think our goal in reaching out to the community is bringing awareness, education, and knowledge to the community in regards to having a healthier lifestyle and maintaining that. That goes along with obviously dieting as well. Dr. Trin has a great program in regards to fasting that we've all kind of jumped on that wagon and started doing, and it's been a really good, healthy habit. But prior to even getting the knowledge or the educational background, we were unaware about all the health benefits of like fasting. And then us being both Hispanic women, obviously we want to ensure that the community is comfortable with, you know, our background as well, and bringing them into this office and educating them. And if there is a language barrier, and in this case, we both speak Spanish, you know, that's something that we can definitely communicate to the community and share our goals and like what we want to do out here in LA County.
Because it seems like Dr. Trin's always beating up on me and the rest of us. I eat our burgers, and I grew up in the Midwest and meat and potatoes and that kind of stuff. I had to unlearn that habit. I had to unlearn how I ate. I haven't had a steak in years, but most of my relatives, if I go back there, like, come on, let's get you a big steak. And let's do, because that's what I grew up eating. That's what I liked as a kid. And yet that's not healthy. Maybe not just for your brain, but for your whole lifestyle. So I had to unlearn that. And California is much more about lots of different ethnic cuisines, and certainly
America, let alone.
America has changed. My wife is an example. She's a vegetarian. She's from the Midwest. Now she's a vegetarian, you know. And I look at my grandkids who aren't growing up in that, even they're both Hispanic, they're growing up in a much more Southern California-based diet. It isn't all heavy Hispanic food. It isn't meat and potatoes like I grew up with. It's much more, there's a lot of more fruits and vegetables. Sometimes I think my grandson, without even being turned into it, is probably going to turn into a vegetarian. He's just not interested in a lot of this heavy stuff that I go, oh, come on. He doesn't like ice cream and cakes and cookies and all the stuff that I grew up in. He just doesn't like it. And I'm like, wow. So I wonder if somehow we don't have to retrain large groups of people, and particularly the ones you're talking about, African Americans, eat a Southern kind of fried food kind of diet. Hispanics eat a diet that's traditionally a lot of lard and fat to make the food taste good, right? And fried stuff and everything here. Whereas Cambodians, I think, grow up because their culture didn't have meat and potatoes around. They're not eating all the fattening foods and the greasy foods and stuff. Now, as they become Americans, yes, we all have a certain Western fast food diet that's not good either here. My grandson stood there to my dismay, love McDonald's and fast food and all that kind of stuff. So that's just as bad, I guess. But do we have to unteach whole groups of people how to eat? I was just thinking this. Years ago, we had somebody on one of our other shows who was trying to reimagine a healthier Mexican cuisine. They were trying to take all the traditional dishes and take all the fattening stuff out of it, the aspect. And so they could still make something that tasted like that. Or maybe even imagine new dishes. All dishes from Mexico aren't what we think of. They're not all tacos. And
it's not. That's an American thing.
Heavy duty stuff. There's lots of different cuisines. So they're trying to pick and choose and find stuff. Just as years ago, none of you would remember this, but I was a restaurant writer years and years ago for a paper. And we all used to go to fancy French restaurants. French food, when I was growing up, was the premier stuff, but it was heavily based on butter. Everything was poured in, they cooked in butter, built in butter. And the new cuisine that started here in California, chefs like Alice Waters and other famous chefs, reinvented classic French cuisine, and they call it California cuisine. No butter, very light, a whole different approach to cooking that we now just take for granted. That's if you go to get a fancy restaurant, I don't care where you go, you're going to have something based on that kind of revolution in cooking. Do we need a revolution in cooking, Dr. Trin?
Yes, we need to let people know of the health benefits of chicken feet.
Oh,
chicken feet, yeah. The last thing in the world I'm ever going to eat.
Oh, yeah.
We'll try that on Friday.
Yeah, we'll try it soon here. Oh, yes.
But I think, where there's certain built-in barriers, the American diet, the Western diet, and certainly a number of ethnic diets, the ones we all rattled off, they're filled with bad food. If you're going to get people to...
all the trans fat.
Trans fat, saturated fat.
Yeah. And is that a popular message? You're going to tell people, okay, you want a healthier brain? Here's one step, might be eat your way to a healthier brain. And people are like, no, I'm not going to do all that. I'm not going to give up that. Just give me a pill. Give me an exercise to do. Give me a
Well,
mental
that's also involved, exercise along with like a cleaner diet. And you can start with baby steps and, let's say, for example, stop using canola oil and replace that with butter, because butter, obviously your body can metabolize it a lot easier and is a lot healthier than canola oil.
I didn't know that. I thought canola oil is the holy grail. I thought you got to get rid of butter. Butter's the bad thing, and you got to put some kind of oil in there.
That's old data.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
So part of it is educating a diet, and then what other steps can you recommend? Certainly exercise, walk more. We all know we got to walk more, exercise more. I don't think we get enough exercise. We're talking on Zoom. You're sitting in a chair. I'm sitting in a chair. This is the way we live our life all day long. I'm going to go from one chair conversation to the next here.
So the ideal evaluation in a healthy brain clinic, it's very different than maybe a physical exam where you go in and you list
they probe you and you list everything that you do.
So in a healthy brain clinic, what we do is we do the physical exam for the brain. It's what we do, right? It's a physical exam for the brain.
So do you pull the brain out and look at it and roll it around and check it for different things here?
We got folks knocking on our door.
I was going to say, did we drive them off? Am I offending? Yeah. They just got up and left. I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah, we have folks at our door, so that's great. So physical exam for the brain is simply listing all the different factors that may contribute to brain health, that may cause bad brain health as well, right? What are the different health conditions that lead to Alzheimer's and dementia? Diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity, high cholesterol, lack of sleep. And so we have an itemized checklist that we will go through with every patient.
Right.
Is this a problem for you? Is it not a problem for you? Are you doing okay with this? Are you not doing okay with this? Because to optimize brain health, it's got to be very specific to the patient. It's not a one-size-fit-all program. It depends on what your risk factors are, right? One person may have diabetes, but the next person doesn't have diabetes, right? One person has good sleep, the next person don't have good sleep. And so to address and optimize brain health, you're looking at what I call precision medicine. Precision medicine means it's got to be precise to you. It's not a blanket treatment with that. Because one patient come in with Alzheimer's, if you see one patient with Alzheimer's, you're seeing one patient with Alzheimer's. Yeah. Their risk for Alzheimer's is completely different from the next patient who comes in with Alzheimer's, right? It's precision medicine.
And so you're trying to tailor something for them. You take a look at their diet, you take a look at their lifestyle, you take a look at the underlying conditions that they might already have that might contribute to this or might add to this or exacerbate this. And then you do what? You give them a report, you give them a suggestion, you say, see ya. On your way.
You give them tailored recommendations based on their risk, because everyone comes in with a different list of risks that contribute to brain health, at least 12 modifiable risk factors. And everyone doesn't have the same modifiable risk factors because their lives are different, their eating habits are different, their exercise habits are different, their sleep patterns are different. So based on their risk factors, everyone is different. So our treatment and our recommendation is tailored to that specific person.
Then did they take this back to their primary care physician, and that physician says, where'd you get this? We're not going to do any of that. Let's throw this out.
Yeah, everything is evidence-based. And so if you want to reduce your risk for Alzheimer's, it's got to be tailored to your risk.